Hello everyone, welcome to BraveHearts. This is Sean Lin. Today is the first day for the CPAC 2021 in Orlando, Florida. And together with me is Mr. Matt Waters. He's the Advancement Director for Moms for America. And Mr. Waters, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, glad to be here, Sean. Thanks so much for having me.
So for this year's CPAC 2021, many people see it's very, very important because the election 2020, so many problems we already realized that the conservative movement already facing a huge challenge.
Yeah.
And so your organization is steering from the family unit. It's very unique.
Yes.
Right? Can you explain a little bit about your movement?
Yeah, absolutely happy to, Sean. It's two things, right? So first of all, it's centered on the family, right, which is what we call one of the safe spaces still left in America, right? We say college campuses, there's no safe spaces. Public schools, even in the workplace today, it's hard to voice your political opinions, but inside the home you can. And Moms for America is doing two things. One, we're encouraging and equipping mothers with things like the Declaration of Independence, our own Constitution of the United States of America, and the history of our country. How did we come to be? Why? What was the purpose of America? And we're teaching moms this and giving moms this information. So the other piece of this is you look around CPAC today, you'll see a lot of organizations run by men. That's okay, that's fine, but we're one of the few organizations focused on Moms for America.
So for moms, a lot of mom now is also working professionals as well, right? And so maybe they are so busy they'll not be able to pay attention to what the school is actually teaching their kids. So what's your suggestion? How do they can do better monitoring of the school's curriculums, agendas?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So our curriculum, and we call it the cottage meetings. We have 126 cottage meetings that happen in homes all across America. We'd like to see 500 cottage meetings across America by the end of this year. And these cottage meetings are like Tupperware party meetings where women in the 50s and 60s would come together and they would sell Tupperware to each other in the home. And so we liken it to that. It's like a Tupperware party meeting, but it's for liberty. And once moms understand what liberty means, what our rights are, that our rights are natural, they come from God, they don't come from government, they start to understand that they do have rights and they can participate in this republic, right? We the people. The idea, it's us, we're the people. The government gets its authority and its really its rights from us, right? So we give that to the government. So we just have to, again, get involved at the local level. A lot of our moms, by the way, they're running for school board, they're running for Congress, they're running for local executives in their hometown, city council, that sort of thing. So we're seeing that happen in real time.
And is it a prerequisite for the members to be religious or conservative members?
No, not at all. In fact, we're a non-sectarian organization. Any religion or no religion, honestly, is acceptable. We really want to stay on the principles of America. The founders had this idea of religious toleration. It starts from John Locke. It goes to Thomas Jefferson and George Mason. And this idea, it really makes America a very unique place, that we have this idea of religious tolerance that the Europeans did not have. So, yeah, really, by and large, you can come with faith or no faith, or maybe somewhere in between.
And so for religious tolerance, and so many of the people nowadays definitely worry about a lot of rights was actually pushed out to the international arenas, not the unalienable rights, right? So how do you distinguish these kind of rights movements?
In America, the religious proposition was unique, and I'd say that we came out of there was a Church of England, there was a Church of Germany, of course there was the Roman Catholic Church of Italy that put up kings in different places, and the Americans said, hey, no, we don't want to do this. We don't want monarchy. We don't want to be told how to govern our lives. We don't want to be told how to worship. So if the king was Catholic, everybody's Catholic. If the king is Protestant, everybody's a Protestant. They wanted to get away from that. And in fact, one of the unique ideas was there's no Church of England, there's no Church of America. There are lots of churches in America. This flourishing of religiosity So today you can go to any city in America, as you well know, and find a mosque, a Protestant, church, a Catholic, what have you, Hindu temple. You can find it all, and that's one of the geniuses of the founding of the republic. And it's unique because it's a natural right, the freedom to worship. This is something that which I think the biggest struggle right now is with the government telling us when you can worship and how to worship. Right? You can worship with this many people in the building. You have to be this far apart. There's some boundaries there I think that have been crossed, and we have to deal with.
But under current situation, under the COVID situation, so many states are still restricting people going to the churches. So for your organization, it is based in Virginia, right? But you are campaign national-wide, right?
Right.
So how do you influence the local politics? How do you make impact even for a governor to change this kind of restriction on going to church to worship?
Yeah, so we're a grassroots movement. So I'll give you a couple of examples. I'm based in Virginia. We have people based in Texas and Nebraska and Ohio. We just had a meeting with Governor Kristi Noem of South Dakota. She understands who our movement is. She understands we're a grassroots movement, have lots of moms that have influence. So what we're doing right now is using media, new media, just like Epoch Times is, right? We're using email, we're using online meetings, Zoom meetings, that sort of thing, to connect the dots, to bring our people together, to be involved. We did robocalls in the state of Georgia during the Georgia Senate races. So we got involved some political, most of it's educational. And when governors see our work, like Kristi Noem and Ron DeSantis here in Florida, even entrepreneurs and business people like Mike Lindell is a friend of ours, he says, hey, you know what, I want to help these guys. How can I help you? So we have this back and forth relationship, but we have a grassroots movement, about 75,000 moms across America who are dialed in to our movement and will help us at a moment's notice. And politicians recognize that.
Yeah, so the power of moms.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's it.
So in order for the moms to work together, and what you mentioned about a moment ago, many of the moms now campaign for education board, yeah, right?
Right.
Board of Educations, yeah. So this seems to be a very fundamental strategy, right? Because if we cannot control what is taught in our schools,
yes,
we cannot influence our future generations. And so, besides working on the moms, so do you have any agenda to directly working on the next generations?
Yeah. So we equip the moms to teach their children. That's really at its root. That's what we're trying to do. So we have a curriculum. It's rather robust. And if you know a woman who wanted to become a mom for America, we'll send them a stack of books about Yay High with videos and DVDs to get them started, to show them how to do it, to equip them. So it's very easy. You turn to page 1, here's what you do at your first meeting. Page 2, here's your second meeting. And you can watch this video and you can talk about, here are the discussion questions to talk about. And we really want to we want moms to invite other moms in their neighborhood who are not necessarily politically affiliated. You talk about the busyness of moms, you're exactly right. A lot of American moms, they're juggling kids, they're juggling jobs, many of them, and they don't have time to be politically involved. They're looking at Pinterest, they're looking at Facebook, which we're very involved in, by the way. That's how we're reaching a lot of them. And so through those mediums and through our cottage meetings, we can teach them so they can teach their children, right? We just had a meeting this morning with a gentleman who supports us in Winter Park, Florida. He has 2 daughters, both went to law school, both are attorneys, one in New York and one in LA. And he said, I gave them the best private school education, I gave them the best law school education, and both of them have left the reservation. They're no longer conservatives. And he said, I don't know what happened. And he said, I know what happened. We didn't do our job in the home the way we probably should have. We trusted the public schools and the public educations to teach our children, and we lost them. And so he's having this debate every day with his own children about issues that really are confronting us every day. So.
Yeah, I have many friends talk about the same situations too.
Yeah.
Their kids are very, very, you can say, left-leaning, and the campus,
big time, right,
the campus also feel of this kind of
right.
atmosphere. And so, Eh, So in CPAC, do you expect any major action that can help improve this education aspect? Because you like grassroots efforts, it takes a
Yeah.
lot of time, right?
Yeah.
So do you have any suggestion for statewide, any particular legislation or anything we should put so you can have a bigger impact?
Right. Yeah, so we do have a 5-point plan, and we're borrowing a page from the liberals, right? Let's go really extreme. Let's ask for everything, like eliminating the 16th Amendment and the 17th Amendment. Let's eliminate the income tax, for example, right? That's crazy talk, right? But this is what the left does. The left starts way out here, and they put the idea out here that everybody's going to have health care, and it's going to be Obamacare, and we sort of do it piecemeal, and then we end up, Bernie Sanders 20 years ago in this country would have never happened. But now he's serious, and he's defining the Democrat Party, and so is AOC and the other socialists, right? So we would like to go the other direction. And let's talk about individual rights and individual liberty to the extreme. And what extreme? The founding fathers extreme. Let's reintroduce Thomas Jefferson and George Washington. Let's reintroduce the Bill of Rights. We have rights, and the government's here to protect our rights, not to give us rights. So this is a fundamental shift, right? And this is what we once all believed. This is what held America together as a great melting pot. This idea of individual liberty, individualism, primacy of the individual, that's all gone. Because now we're looking at the collective, and we're saying we're borrowing from the failed states of Europe and the growing menace that is China in Asia, right? And we're starting to seed we're giving them influence, undue influence in the world, and it's dangerous.
And since you talk about the Chinese Communist regime, so in U.S. education systems, whether it's in the public school or even at home, very little education is about the nature of the Communist Party, right?
Yeah, right.
And so how do we improve on this aspect to let people know what's the true nature of this Communist Party?
Wow, we haven't subscribed to the Epoch Times, first of all, right? Haven't go to that website. And honestly, people say after this election, right, the Stop the Steal, and we look at that, and we look at the numbers, and it doesn't add up. There's some things that are just flat out wrong. Some people have asked us, who can I trust in media? And we do. We honestly say, go to Epoch Times, go to Breitbart, look at some other alternative media that's actually asking questions. It's not that they're right or wrong. Let's just have the ability to have a conversation. That's a starting point, right? Because the communists and the socialists don't even want you to have the conversation. They want to censor you and say, hey, you can't even talk about this. This is George Orwell 1984 kind of speak, right? Young people don't get it. They don't understand it. They are being indoctrinated in the school level. And by the way, most of the 4,000 colleges and universities in this country, that includes 2-year schools, most of the folks going to those 2 and 4-year universities are women, right? It's 52, 55, 60% women. And they're coming out of these universities very, very different than women did, 30, 40 years ago. And a woman has such an impact on the home, right? They make a lot of the financial decisions. They make the education decisions. The man is often working still to this day, working a lot and doing his job. And the woman often is straddled with working and doing home things. But they are very influential. And to the extent that we, again, just continue to drive back to that mom and say, look, love you conservatives. We love you guys. You're doing great work. I'm a conservative. But let's not forget the other part of this equation, the soccer moms. I mean, look, the Democrats brag about owning the suburbs. They brag about owning the mom vote, the suburban woman vote. And in fact, that could be credited as, if Trump did lose fairly, then you might look at the women and say, well, did he turn off women? Did his presentation, and I think you could probably say, I think most men and women would agree, yeah, it was not a good idea for him to kind of come off the way he sounded, right? So women could be a deciding factor, not only in the future of the nation, but in the future of the next election.
Yeah. So that's why your organization is doing a very important work to educate the moms.
You got it.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Waters.
Yeah, thank you so much. Enjoyed it. Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you for watching this episode of BraveHearts. This is Sean Lin. Stay tuned. We'll see you in next program.